Controversial opinion. A big luxury watch brand just released an amazing watch that is not only fabulous, but almost reasonably priced. Relatively, at least. You might think I'm absolutely insane, and maybe I am, but I think the new Zenith Chronomaster Original Triple Calendar Moonphase is the best release of the year so far. Let's dive in. We have 3 variants of the same watch, 2 on a strap, 1 on a bracelet, 3 different dials, 1 reverse panda on the strap, 1 variant on a steel bracelet, which I'm calling the grey panda, and a green dial, green strap version. The watches are all 38mm in size, the lug to lug is 46mm, and the height is 13mm. The watches include a chronograph function with a signature 1/10 of a second timer function. Add to that you get a moonphase, a day and a date, and a month calendar function. The movement is a 5 Hz movement, so you get that silky smooth sweep you know from the high beat Seiko movements, not something you see a lot because the seconds hand is on a sub-dial. The power is over 60 hours and you get 50 meters of water resistance. Full disclosure, I have not had this watch in hand. I was in London recently and I dragged my wife and kids to every single Zenith store in the city and all of them said June at the earliest. So no luck in trying it on. Having said that, I've had pretty much every Chronomaster in hand and on my wrist, so I think I can at least confidently share my initial thoughts of the watch, but of course it's not a full review. Just keep that in mind. Let's start with the bad. And it's a doozy. For the price, the bracelet is simply substandard and far and away the worst characteristic of the watch. For some weird reason, Zenith chooses to source bracelets that would have been acceptable on a high-end watch 20 years ago, but not today. It's machined, it tapers, their bracelets are typically very nicely finished, it's brushed on the outer links and polished on the center links, but the bracelets are not perfectly fitted for the case. They look like they were made to some other specs and adapted to the case of the watch. And then there's the main problem. There's no easy adjust, just push pins. There are other reviewers that have commented that they would have preferred a more vintage style bracelet like the ladder bracelet on the A384. I understand why, but I just don't like the ladder bracelets or any other similar idea. I'm happy with the aesthetic of this oyster style bracelet, but the lack of modern technical functions is just disappointing. Having said that, I think this watch should be worn on a leather strap anyway. What else comes across as bad on its own? Well, it's not bad, but the hands and markers are gold. I really would have preferred polished steel hands. It's a design decision that doesn't kill the watch, but at least based on the photos, my mind is telling me I would likely prefer steel over gold, but maybe in the metal it gives it a pop without coming off as tacky. It remains to be seen. On a distant third place, I suppose you could complain about the placement of the date, the day, and month windows. There's a lot going on and there are not a lot of logical places to place these windows. On most 42mm calendar chronos, you'll see a day and month somewhere around the 12 o'clock position, but since this watch is 38mm, there's just not as much space there when you also need to have the Zenith logo. So to me, it comes across as a bit of a compromise. There's also something when reading from left to right where you end up reading day, month, and date, which feels off to me. I'm European, so logically I would like to read day, date, month. But nitpicking for sure. What about the good? There's so much I initially like about this watch. One, the 38mm form factor of these Chronomaster Originals sits amazingly on the wrist. 38mm is the modern sweet spot for a lot of people and they have always sat excellently on my wrist. The non-calendar models are a little bit under a 0.5 millimeter lower in height and I just can't see a scenario where I'll feel that 13mm overall and a less than a 0.5 millimeter increase will make this watch feel thick. The fact is, this is a chronograph triple calendar Moonphase at 13mm. That's ridiculously impressive. Breitling has something similar, but it's over 15mm, which to me is just too much. 13mm. That's the same as a no date, no time to die Seamaster 300M. This is going to wear well for a lot of people. Personally, my biggest problem with the Chronomasters have always been the multicolored sub-registers and the overlapping sub-registers. I know that's kind of a signature element of the design, but I've never liked it. To me, the A384 with the monocolor sub-registers is the way to go, and I love that they went this route on these watches. Also, they reduced the size of the sub-dials so they don't overlap, and for me, that's a winning layout. It makes for a dial that's symmetrical, cramped with information, but succeeds in not feeling cramped in any way. There's room to breathe, which I think is really, really well executed. Finally, it's a triple calendar Moonphase chronograph beating at 36,000 vibrations per hour with a 13mm height for $1,000 less than a Rolex Daytona. The Rolex Daytona is super popular, but it's more expensive. It has a better bracelet and a better value retention, But is there a triple calendar Moonphase? No. Then there's the Breitling Datora. Same price, same complications, but 42 millimeters and 15 millimeters thick. You know, I might accept 42 millimeters. I'm not married to small watches, but the thickness is a no-go for me. Then there's the JLC Master Control Chronograph calendar, $17,500. Personally, I like the design way better. I like the sub windows better. It's thinner too, but it's $3,500 more. Actually, no, it's a lot more. It costs $19,000 with the H-Link bracelet, which I don't like either. That's way too much. So, for a smidge under $14,000, this watch isn't cheap. But I do stand by my assertion that it's a good price. The reason I say that it's a good price is because it's a 38 millimeter case with a 13 millimeter height. I say it because it's a 5 hertz movement. I say it because it's all of those things for a triple calendar Moonphase chronograph. 10 years ago, you could likely get this kind of watch for a lot less, but not today. It's the combination of all those things that make this watch compelling. A modular 15mm Breitling movement is too expensive for the same design. A $3,500 premium or $6,000 premium for a JLC is overpriced, at least in my mind. If you're not into complications, this watch is definitely not for you. It's not perfect, but it is a very good option. If you're a Zenith fan, then this watch might very well be something for you that would be worth taking a look at. Give it a few months after release when it eventually hits all the stores, and you'll find it cheap on the secondary market too. I like, at least initially. It's made it to the long list of watches I'm dreaming about. It might make it to the short list once I've tried it in the metal. That's it. Quick and dirty. Like, subscribe. Cheers.